Brady, like the little baby he is, had a little bit of an outburst on the sidelines. We have a video for you guys to look at. There he is. Tablet gone. Absolutely gone. Some of the comments said that was the best throw he had all night. Probably was. And for me, who doesn't like Tom Brady, I was so excited he got 0 points. But also, I had him on my fantasy team starting, so I also got 0 points. So that was a tough week, mixed emotions. And so some of us, we might see that kind of reaction in our lives. Teammates arguing, yelling, friends arguing and yelling or fighting over something. We see coaches lose their tempers. I don't know. I've actually seen a basketball coach get really mad. So what he did was pick up the chair he was sitting on and throw it across the basketball court. Whether it's fear, anger, jealousy, laziness, an unhealthy competitive spirit, or whatever other emotions you can think of, sometimes these emotions just get the best of us sometimes. For me, for those of you who might know a little bit about me, specifically the high schoolers in the back probably know this if they attended high school camp, I am very competitive. Very competitive. I want to win, and if you are on my team, you better be trying. All right, you don't need to be good, you need to try. All right, so if we lose and you weren't trying, I am going to blame you as the reason why we lost. But if everyone tries, I'm totally okay with losing. All right, as long as we put in a good, honest effort, I'll be happy. So I actually play for a slow pitch softball team. It was started by a few guys at this campus, and when we were playing one game last season, there were runners on first and second with one out. The batter, he hit a high fly ball to left center field. And the outfielder, he made the catch. So there's 2 outs. The runner on second was tagging up and was trying to advance to third. I was playing third base. The outfielder unleashed a cannon of a throw. Best throw ever on the fly. He hit me right in the chest with the ball. And I looked up and I see that the runner is literally 3 steps away from me. So we had this guy dead to rights. He was out. I'm like, we're turning an inning and double play. I put the tag down in front of the base like you're supposed to, like any good infielder. Guy slides into my glove. I hold the ball up to the umpire to show that I still have control of it. And I give a good, let's go! Because I was so excited. We just turned an inning-ending double play. I take 2 steps to the dugout, and I hear the umpire go, safe! Guys, I was so excited that we turned an inning-ending double play, and all that excitement very quickly turned into anger. So I found myself, instead of walking to the dugout, now I'm marching at the umpire, screaming at him, are you kidding me? What are you doing? What are you looking at? You must be a complete idiot to think that that dude was safe. What are you even looking at? And I couldn't believe it. And the umpire, he knew he messed up because he couldn't even look at me in the face. That he had messed up this call. So he's just walking back to his position, and I yell out to him, yeah, you know you messed up because you can't even look at me, you idiot. All while wearing my jersey that has Hope Community Church across the front of it. So it was not a great moment for me as a person, or even a great moment to show God's love to somebody. In fact, it was the exact opposite. Let's be honest, how many of you have ever been in a situation where you probably let your emotions get the best of you? You know, it might not be screaming out, telling an umpire off, but it could be anything else. I think it's safe to say our emotions can lead us down the wrong path at times. Now, don't get me wrong, emotions are good. Emotions are what help us experience life more fully. Eating food wouldn't be as gratifying if we didn't experience hunger, if we never felt what it's like to be hungry. We would never see justice done if some people didn't get a little bit angry in order to fight for what's right. But even though emotions can be good, they can lead us to make some unwise choices. So some of us, have you ever felt lazy before? Just don't feel like doing things, right? Some of you are probably sitting here like, I feel lazy right now. I have no idea why I'm here. So maybe you let the emotion of being a little bit lazy, it kind of creeps into your friendships. Like you tell your friends, yeah, let's totally hang out after church. And then you go through church and then you're just like, I think I'm gonna go home and take a nap. Yeah, I got school tomorrow. I want to eat lunch. So that 1:30 to 5 o'clock range, I'm gonna get a fat nap in. That's probably what Aaron's gonna do after this. But you see, or sometimes you let your emotions get the best of you and you actually blow off your friends to go hit on somebody, or your emotions get the best of you and you want to get revenge on somebody that wronged you. I think a lot of us have probably been in that situation before where we want to get revenge on somebody. I know I have. I got in 2 fights in baseball because of that, but those are 2 stories for another day. But you see, when we let our emotions control the outcome in a negative way, a lot of times we want to justify it as, I wasn't feeling it. Right? When it comes to our spiritual life, we actually use the same justifications if we're not feeling it. We won't spend time reading our Bibles. We won't spend time praying. We won't spend time listening to God. We won't go to church. I mean, I thought of you probably felt too tired to wake up for church this morning, right? How many of you felt too tired to wake up for church this morning? It's 11:15 service. I mean, it's the second service. Some of you like, I am still too tired right now. What are we even talking about? Well, we're talking about emotions and how emotions can lead us down the wrong path at times. But the ultimate guide for our life is not actually our emotions. It's not doing whatever you want, whenever you want. The ultimate guide for our life is our Creator, God. So if you have your Bibles, you can open them up to Luke chapter 15. If you don't have one with you, that's totally fine. We'll have the verses up on the side screens. So we're actually going to be checking out a parable Jesus used to get a point across to the religious leaders. And if you don't know what a parable is, it's a story Jesus would use in his teachings to really get the people that he was talking to thinking. So this guy named Luke wrote down this interaction Jesus had with some people who were religious authorities in the town. And these religious men, they were full of judgment for those who didn't obey God perfectly. So if we take a look in verse 1, it says, tax collectors and other notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus teach. So we know in the first verse, the people that are coming to see Jesus are the sinners. And those are the people who at the time, the church around them, they actually never would have been invited even to come to church, to hear what God has for them. But Jesus, he wanted them there because his mission was to save those people. Let's continue reading to verse 2. It says, this made the Pharisees and teachers of religious law complain that he was associating with such sinful people, even eating with them. Okay, so some of you think of all of you, think of someone from school who you're like, they would never fit in at church. They're a bully, they do this, they do that, they're mean. And you walked in on Sunday and they are sitting in your seat where you sit every Sunday. I saw these few girls sprint in when the doors are open. They got to their seat and they're like, yes. They were like, yes, I got my seat. But imagine a person that you did not like, a person who by your definition was like, they should not be here. They were sitting in your seat. You would probably complain, maybe internally or to another friend, that you can't actually believe they're here. But the thing is, that same feeling you'd be feeling in that situation was the same way the Pharisees were feeling. But even the people who are the worst of the worst, they need a seat to belong at church too. Continuing into verse 3, says, so Jesus told them this story. If a man has 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what will he do? Won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go to search for the one that is lost until he finds it? And then when he has found it, he will joyfully carry it home on his shoulders. When he arrives, he will call together his friends and neighbors, saying, 'Rejoice with me, because I have found my lost sheep.' In the same way, there is more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away." Now, there's a lot to unpack in these verses, but what it all comes down to is this: Jesus always goes back and gets us from wherever we are. So in the first two verses of Luke chapter 15, we learn Jesus, he hangs out with sinners. It makes the religious leaders mad. So in response, Jesus tells this story of a man who has 100 sheep. One of them walks away from the rest. So what Jesus is saying is that any good person, any good man would try to go to find this lost sheep. And guys, all of us in this room, either at one point in our life, or we're that sheep, or currently we are that sheep, or we may even know somebody that is that sheep, someone that's walked away from God, or maybe has never known who God is. At some point in our lives, we've told ourselves, I'm not feeling it when it's come to our faith. Many of you might be telling yourself that right now. Maybe some of you have actually been put in the position to share the good news, to share the gospel with a friend, and you just use the excuse, I'm not feeling it. When we aren't feeling like investing time into knowing God and discovering his purpose for our lives, when we don't listen and we ignore the Bible, we ignore praying, and we disengage from our small groups, when we consistently do the things that pull us further and further away from God, we get so far away from God that we are the sheep that has gone astray. I'm sure every leader in here, me, your small group leaders, Aaron, Tyler, they would all tell you that at some point in our lives, maybe more, a lot, probably definitely more than once, we would have been that sheep that's walked away, the sheep that's gone astray. Now, yet Jesus, despite the fact that we do sometimes walk away from our faith, Jesus always goes back and gets us no matter what. And he carries us back to rejoin his family. So if Jesus is pursuing us when we go astray, what is our role in this? Because while God does his part, we also need to do our part. So how do we thrive in our faith when we don't feel like it? There's a few things that we could do. One of the first things that we need to do is that we need to ask God to give us a desire and a passion to get to know him. In other words, we got to pray. We have to, God, he wants to hear from us and wants to know what we want to get to know him more. So we want to ask God for that desire, for that passion to get to know him. That is the first thing we need to do. Second thing we need to do is admit to a trusted adult how we're feeling. So we need to tell someone not just what we're feeling, we need to tell them that maybe we are really angry with someone, or that there is an emotion that consumes us and we don't exactly know how to deal with it. We don't want to keep these things inside, because maybe one day this is going to be the thing that leads you further and further away from God. And telling a trusted adult like a small group leader is one of the best things you can do, because they're the ones that can pull you back closer to God and point you in the right direction. Third thing, we need to acknowledge where our emotions are coming from. Do they seem like they're coming from God, or are they coming from within ourselves? Because if we're honest, not everything inside of us is good. We all have thoughts and desires that we shouldn't have at times. Emotions that can lead us down the wrong path at times, but the ultimate goal for our life is not emotions. It's not doing whatever you want, whenever you want. The ultimate guide for our lives is the author and creator of our life, God. And as we close out today, I want you all to know this. It is possible to thrive in your faith even when you're not feeling it. And the first step in doing that is asking God to give you a passion, desire to know him. having that passion and desire to know who he is. And some of you in this room, you may not feel like you've been feeling it lately. You've felt far away from God, and you feel him pulling him back to you. You feel him pulling you back to him. You got to listen to that feeling. He wants you to come back to him because he is pursuing you. Maybe some of you in this room have actually never made that decision to join and be a part of God's family, but some of you want to. And God, he wants you to also. If you all bow your heads with me, and we're going to close out and pray. If you are someone who wants to come back to God, you've gone astray and you need to grow closer to him, or if you're someone that wants to be a part of God's family, I encourage you, put a hand up and hold it up for a few seconds. No one's looking around. There's a moment between you and God. You can put your hands down. So over the next 20 seconds, take time to pray to God. If you rose your hand because you want to be a part of God's family, you're not sure what to pray, you can check out the screens and there's a prayer on up there for you that you can pray. The words aren't magic, but the decision that you've made is going to change your life forever. Take these next moments to pray to God for whatever you need to tell him about, and then I'll close out. Dear God, thank you for this day. God, I pray for all the students that are here today, and that, God, if we are a sheep that's gone astray, that you will continue to pursue us, that we will feel your presence coming after us, God, because we know you are a God that loves and cares for every single one of us as we are your children. God, I pray for small groups that they will go well, that they'll have great discussions, that everybody that are in the small groups will grow closer together and to you. And I pray this in your name. Amen. All right, guys, Aaron's going to come up and close this out. Just hold on for 1 second.
Yo, give a round of applause for Brandon. We're thankful to have him on our team and to be able to come and share with all of y'all today. Listen, I can relate a ton to what Brandon was talking about. Like, I have had plenty of days. There we go.